Hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome all of you to the day of the heart chakra in the physical week of the month of Aries. So the topic for today is experimentation. So remember that first of all, the word to experiment comes from ex, that means outside. Then peri, that means to try, to prove something. And then mentos, that means a way of doing things. So we can understand that experimentation talks about the way in which we can prove things in order to move beyond, to go farther. To experiment is one of the four fundaments of the universe that we saw the first day of this week. So basically, the idea that shares the concept of experimentation is to allow us to experiment, to live, to have experience on the things that we usually have in our ideas, in our mind. So first to know is that the experimentation comes with the idea, or it starts with the idea that the universe is only mind, and then the mind gets out of itself in order to experiment itself, to express, to expand, and to have to be able to prove the things that the mind was thinking. So actually would be how the mind, the thinking of the universe, expands itself in the existence. So that existence is basically the manifested aspect of the mind. Like René Descartes said, I think, therefore I exist. So remember that in the beginning of everything, the universe is just mind, is the divine consciousness that knows exactly who it is. But this being started to think about the possibility of experimenting those thoughts. So in order to be able to feel, to perceive those thoughts, what the mind had to do was to expand itself, creating a network of thoughts. So creating this network of thoughts all around in the cosmos, it starts to create, to manifest different links of information that starts to give answers, like a reaction of these links. So the mind can receive different ideas from different points of view. So it starts to spread in all the directions, expanding in different points of view, so it can reach many perceptions and feelings of only one idea. So the main concept is to find ways, tools, in which the mind can try the same thing in different ways. So that would be the origin of experimentation. And the third dimension is kind of the dimension that is about to practice that. This is the the dimension where the mind experiences all um, the possible ways. So this makes the third dimension the place, the playground where we can experiment, we can live all our ideas. So we are not here like in a kind of a punishment, a divine punishment. We are here because our mind designed an idea that was willing to be lived. So we are living our own ideas, and we are experimenting what we have thought for ourselves. And the main concept is to try the same idea in different ways. And remember that to experiment, to do an experimentation, is not about living all the time happy. It's about to understand the opposites, to manifest the polarities. So that's why when you experiment, you need to see all the possible perspectives in every direction. And that would mean to work with the light, to work with the darkness, to suffer sometimes, to be happy some others, so we can live all the possibilities of our own idea. So the same idea can be experimented in different levels, in different ways. So we can live the same situation through sadness or through happiness. So what we have come to do here in this planet, in this reality, is to exactly do that, to try to think about one idea, to live one idea in all its possible levels. Actually, when we start to experiment and we start to be afraid of what is coming next, and we get attached to only one situation, to be linked to one comfortable situation, what we do is to stop the movement of the energy, and we start to get ill. So that's why the people that stop experimenting and just stay whatever they have, they will be suffering much more than those who transform themselves. Because remember, experiment comes with the word X, which is to come out, to go into another level. So that's why when we move forward, when we try to evolve in our life, we need to experiment new things in order to keep going. So experimentation is the one that tells us about to allow ourselves to transform what we have so we can move forward. It's basically to have the same idea and allow yourself to watch it in different points of views. So as a big example, we could say, for example, that thinking about politics, in whatever country you live in, you will have an idea of politics, and you will think about politicians are like this and politics is always like that. But that's because you are watching the politics from only one point of view according to your experience. But if you don't allow yourself to open yourself to watch how politics is in other countries, you would never change politics because you are always watching the same thing. So if you are able or have the opportunity to travel or to read or to speak with someone and to speak about politics in Norway, in Switzerland, or politics in Arabia and Emirates, or in India and China, in Nicaragua, Canada, there are different ways of seeing the politics. So when you start to watch different ways of the same concept, your mind starts to open to see different options of solutions. Okay, so that would be and an example. And from that big vision of the entire world of politics, we can also use the example of how to make a fried egg. Like, maybe you have seen only one way of doing a fried egg all the time, and you repeat that once and again, and suddenly, just because you ask someone else, you find out a new way. And so you practice that new way. And so you can start to look for it, and there will be many other ways to make a fried egg. And suddenly, just a simple thing as that can give you so much information and so much improvement of yourself. So to practice experimentation helps us to improve our way of evolution, to open our mind to improve ourselves as beings. So as yesterday we spoke about the culture and the morality, usually when we start to experiment new things, we start to move away from the security of the culture. And even if it is a really good thing what we are doing, the environment will think that we are doing something really wrong and really weird. Okay, so would be something like strange. So sometimes we start to get afraid, or we are scared about experimenting new things because of the judgment of the culture that is really afraid. The culture is really afraid of change because we are comfortable in that situation. So that's why the culture used to call us crazy when we start to change and do something different. And of course, that when we keep practicing different things and experimenting new things, what happens is that eventually we have good things to give to our own culture to improve our culture. So in order to really experiment in a good way, to be free to evolve in these new ways, the first thing that we have to face is the fear of the beliefs of what we think is good and is bad. So just for example, I was thinking today that one of the scares that we have about experimentation is about morality that I spoke yesterday. This thing that our beliefs are related to a certain place, a certain culture, and if we don't know anything about other culture, that would be really weird. So I was thinking, for example, someone like here in Egypt suddenly appears in my hometown in Argentina, where nobody usually had any contact with Islam. If they see someone that in the middle of the street takes a carpet and starts to pray, watching towards the east to the Mecca, for sure that person would be like, the people would be like, what happened to him? He's crazy. What he's doing? So that's what usually happens, and the same thing would happen with someone from other place coming here, like what was happening to some of us, that they watch us weird now in Ramadan if we are eating before 6 p.m. So because it's like, what are they doing? This is weird. So because of these things, we usually are getting as crazy people, or that something is wrong, when we just see the reality from only one perspective in only one territory. So that's why experimentation is telling us to go out and to watch different realities and different ways of thinking, to perceive from different points of view. So one of these fears to experimentation is because most of the cultures in most of the cultures in our world comes from faith, from religion, and faith is kind of different from experimentation, because faith is something that you cannot really experiment to try to prove. It's something that you have just to trust that it's like this. And even if our minds were designed to accept faith, to accept things as they are, suddenly 500 years ago, the science started to work with the empiric experimentation, which means that if you don't prove it with an experiment, with tools from the world that you can feel, so you cannot prove that it's true. And that's going against faith, actually. So in the past 500 years, science designed the system, the scientific method, the empiric experimentation, and it designed kind of our realities today, what we have today. And in the past 200 years, science kind of owned the concept of reality. So if it is not proved by science, nothing can really be true. So what happened with this thinking in science is that they started to own the idea that the truth is only done or given by the science. So in education, they started to do exactly the opposite to what they were trying to do, which was to put the doubt as a key to development. And they took this this concept and they did exactly the opposite, which is through the Illuminism in the 18th century, they started to just tell to the students, to the people, to learn all that kind of by faith. All the things that they discovered, you have to study it like faith, no question, because that's the truth. So of course that there are a few scientists that are the ones that they could say we are maybe wrong, and we have to doubt ourselves from our own job in order to transform maybe the concept, the main concept. So during a long time we have been guided by the faith of religion, and today we are guided by the faith of science. So what I mean with this path that we have taken is that the people, the population, we have not been educated in science. We have just given data. So we are living in the faith of a scientific world. We live surrounded by science, but we don't know how it works. It's the same way as someone goes to the church every Sunday, but doesn't get what the Bible says. So with all this, what I want to say is that we have to take benefit of the scientific method. and start to make experimentations by ourselves. Meaning that when we don't know something, when we don't understand something, we look for it. We go into YouTube, we go into Google, we ask someone, not being afraid of doing a mistake, not being afraid of doing a question. Try to learn something every day, to experiment something by yourself every day, something new. To experiment all the time. So this would mean that we have to recognize that the biggest experiment of our life is our own life. So we have to use our life as an experiment to learn something new all the time, to try things, to get out of our comfort zone, and to practice new things, to open our mind, not only to have knowledge, but to gain wisdom. Because through experimenting things, we gain wisdom, not knowledge. The key here to understand is that becoming aware, an aware being, a spiritual being, is to remember that the Spirit has created science, the reality that we live in, and the experimentation as a tool, as a way to understand what we are and what we are capable of. So, just to finish, sometimes it makes me a bit like, I don't know if smile, the concept that many people used to say a new humanity is really close by, and a new society, and everything will be perfect, and we are right there close to a new human, and so on. And no, it's not. It's not. I'm sorry, because this can hurt some feelings of some people, but it's not. It is not going to happen like that. It will eventually happen someday, but maybe, I don't know, maybe in Capricorn era, 2000 years ahead, I don't know. But won't be now. So I will explain why. So the reason why I said this is because the sentences that we use when we speak about this, like a new humanity is coming, something new is right ahead, all these expressions that we use are still the conflict that shows us why it's not going to happen. Because all of them are about expectations and not responsibility of what we have to do every day. Because when we speak about a new humanity, we usually speak from faith, and we don't do it from science. The word science comes from the word skire, that means to separate things, to apart things. So the word skire, science, is this concept that you take something and you make different parts of it to understand how it works, and then you put them all together with knowledge, now understanding why is it, so you can use it properly. So the science here would be like you take the spirit, one spirit, and you part the spirit, you break that spirit apart in different pieces, and you just try to get the idea and understand each one of the pieces of the spirit, and then you connect them and you got it, and you say, oh, now I get it. This is the spirit. Now I know how to use it. So that would be the spiritual science. To take all that data and to understand, put on practice all that data. And once you get it, you will stop saying the things that are coming from the future, and you will be responsible of that things, doing it here and now, taking action on that, because the only way for that new thing to come is if you do it right now, here and now. So that's why, in order to do this, we just have to go step by step with tiny things, trying to learn a new perspective, opening ourselves to see a bigger picture. By the moment, myself today, I did a dinosaur. So what I did today was to unearth a triceratops, and I put it all together. It's my favorite dinosaur, and I learned something new today. Let's go to the alignment. The vibration for today is He. The statement for today is, I am the designer of emotion. The code for today is Pluto, the dwarf planet that's farthest from the Sun. Is a frozen rock that takes 248 years to complete its orbit around our star, being an irregular planet that brings long-term change. Its name references to God of Death. References the God of Death. And even though it was unknown until the first years of the 1900s, the election of the name equiparates to the one that brings the deepest changes, powerful transformation that extend through an entire life or generations. Let's go to the alignment. Sit comfortable, close your eyes, and concentrate in your breathings. I become aware of the space that surrounds me, the body that I inhabit, and my own breathings. And I observe under my body a light, the consciousness of my body, in the shape of a divine spark. Breathe and ignite the spark. I ascend this divine spark to my feet. I recognize the spark arriving to the two sacred lakes that give birth to the rivers, white and blue, coming up through my legs. And in its waters, I set the intention to open myself to experiment everything that I need in order to create my path and open my path to the world. I ignite this spark. I ascend this spark to my knees. And I feel these two rivers coming back as one, uniting the feminine and the masculine energies in my knees. I set the intention to experiment all that is necessary for me to be able to bring here and now all the heritage of my history. Ignite the spark in my knees. I ascend this spark to the sacred lake in my root chakra. I recognize here the vital energy arising through me. And I set the intention to experiment all the world that is in front of me. I breathe and I expand this spark. I arise this divine spark to the creative center in the sacrum. I recognize within me the power of the mother of creation and the strength of the light and the darkness moving within my creative center. I set the intention to experiment all the ways of creativity that lives within me. I recognize and ignite this spark. I ascend this divine spark to my plexus. And I perceive within me the temple of the I Am, of my body, building with its light what I am right now. And I set the intention to experiment all the ways, the forms of myself, and the ways to relate with others. I recognize and ignite the spark. I rise up the divine spark to my heart. I recognize here the temple of life and love irradiating from the heart throughout the entire inner Nile. And I set the intention to experiment all kinds of love and service to this world. I recognize and ignite the spark. And I recognize within the throat the temple of the light of the sun with its 12 rays of light expanding in every direction my truth. I recognize and ignite this spark. Haciendo esta chispa a mi tercer ojo, I ascend this spark to my third eye. And I observe in front of me the eyes of the Sphinx, contemplating my ideas and thoughts. And I set the intention to experiment many different points of view of this reality. Recognize and I ignite the spark. I ascend this spark to my crown. And I observe this light expanding in a delta, shining and making bright each one of the pyramids in my crown. and I set the intention to experiment my divinity here and now. I recognize and ignite my crown. I recognize that along this initiatic path within, I activate the energy that allows me to experiment the emotions that record every data, wisdom, and push me to action to create and manifest what I am. I ignite the emotion in me. I am the designer of every emotion. I am the designer of all emotions. I am the designer of all emotions. I am, I am, I am. Take a deep breath and start to bring this consciousness all throughout the body, stretching and massaging. Y cada uno a su tiempo vuelve aquí y ahora. And each one at its own time, come back here and now. Thank you everybody for being here again, and see you tomorrow at the same time.